Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Eagle Eye Networks in IONODES webinar. My name is Megan, and I work on the Eagle Eye marketing team. We'd like to thank you for joining us. The purpose of today's webinar will be to provide an overview of the newly formed partnership between both of our companies. We want to give you a high-level overview of what we both do, and then give you some insight on why we're working together, and then let you guys know how you can take advantage of this integration, both for your company and for your customers. One more thing before we start, we definitely urge you to stay until the end of this webinar, because if you do, you'll be receiving an email from IONODES with promo codes for exclusive discounts. So now I'm going to hand it over to our speakers. Let's get started.
Hey, Megan. My name is Ricky Mapp with Eagle Eye Networks. I've been a senior sales engineer here for 4 years now, and I worked with the testing and implementation of the IONODES partnership from day one.
Thanks, Ricky. My name is Steve Green. I'm Director of Sales and Strategic Partnerships at Eagle Eye, and I've been in the IP video industry for about almost 20 years now, and with IONODES for 2 years.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Phil Solvay. I am with IONODES Technical Support and Pre-Sales Engineering, and just like Ricky, we've been working at testing the integration as well over the past few months.
Thank you, Phil. I would like to say a little bit about Eagle Eye Networks. So Eagle Eye was founded out of necessity by Dean Draco of Barracuda Networks. He discovered that there was no great way to cybersecure his cameras from around the globe. He then set out to build a cloud network from the ground up with focus on cybersecurity and ease of use. Founded the company in 2012. Our headquarters are in Austin, Texas, but we also have offices in Tokyo, Amsterdam, and San Jose. We have 11 global data centers and customers in over 80 countries.
Yeah, thanks, Ricky. Steve Green here. A little bit about IONODES. I was founded in 2007. We're based in Montreal, Canada, and you may not be familiar with us, even though we've been around for quite some time. The reason for that is that we originally specialized in OEM IP video, meaning our IP video technology is built into other people's products, things like bomb disposal robots, drones, and other products. Today, we're here to talk to you about our secure display stations. These are video wall appliances that are custom built from the ground up to display live video wherever you need it. We put together an integration and partnership with Eagle Eye earlier this year, and that's the main topic of our conversation today. Thank you.
So a little bit about the partnership. Once again, out of necessity, Eagle Eye found that a lot of our customers were looking for a way to view their high definition video locally before it went into the cloud. Something, a little bit about our products is, we have a on-site bridge appliance whose main job is to buffer locally, encrypt the data of the video, and then send that data to the cloud. All of that takes up quite a bit of the resources on the bridge device, and so we don't have a great way of viewing the video locally. So because of that, we found IONODES, or IONODES found us somehow at a trade show, and we found out that we were a really great potential partner. So because Eagle Eye has the open API, IONODES and our engineers work together to bring us the best of both worlds. Now we can have video in the cloud the way that a lot of the off-site managers and directors require it, and then the actual operators on site can have the high definition video that they need to run their operation. If you look at this slide here, this is just a basic architecture diagram, what we're seeing here on the right of the screen are multiple different locations with multiple different types of cameras. Eagle Eye, since the beginning, has been camera agnostic. We work with both analog and IP cameras. And on the third little blob there, you'll see that we are also working with body cams now. So pretty much any camera that you have out there, we're trying to work with. Those cameras connect to a bridge unit. The bridge encrypts buffers locally, sends that data to our cloud, and then that's where the users are actually accessing that video. So if you look at the fourth blob on the right, you're going to see that what we're doing is we're attaching the IONODES device to the local network, and then presenting the cameras locally before they go up to the cloud. So now we can access the video from remote locations or the local video walls. So some of the customer needs that are being addressed with this partnership, is a need for high quality video locally. Whenever you're running a facility, such as maybe a hospital or a shipping terminal or something like that, the security and the operations aspect of the video is very important. So having any type of lag time waiting for the internet or low quality video, once again, because the internet isn't optimal. They also need something that can be, reliable, something they can glance over at, 24 hours a day and know that that video is going to be there. Because it's still on the local network, the video is still highly secured. And one of the other aspects is, if you're going to have somebody monitoring the video 24 hours a day, that would potentially use a lot of bandwidth if you're accessing that through the internet. So by having a local device, you're minimizing that cloud bandwidth. And then IONODES throws in a little sweetener there, and it gives you flexible display options. And so now you not only can monitor your video, but also any other websites or any other devices that can connect to the IONODES display. On to you, Steve.
Thank you. Yeah, so when we talk about secure display stations, these are simply IoT embedded video wall appliances that are designed from the ground up to deliver live video. Key thing to understand is that when we're talking about delivering live video, we're integrating with Eagle Eye Cloud VMS, but then we're grabbing the video streams directly from the cameras, meaning we're not having to pull them down from the cloud. We're pulling them direct from the camera. Because we're designed from the ground up as a dedicated video wall appliance, we've put a lot of priority and emphasis in high availability, always on capability. So there's all kinds of ways that you can kind of sort of play live video locally. We do it with the assumption that if it's important, it needs to be high availability, it needs to be high quality, it needs to be low latency. So this is how kind of some of the differentiating acts of IONODES secure display stations. We've also added some additional capabilities beyond just displaying video. We can display in a tile, display a web page or a series of images in an image carousel, for example. So those are just some examples of things that we can do with our secure display stations. If we could go to the next slide, I'll give a quick overview of what you would typically see on a secure display station. This is a typical layout. We have many different layouts that you can choose, anywhere from 1 camera to 16 cameras on a single monitor. Typically, mostly you're going to show IP video live streams, but in the top right-hand corner here, you see an example of an image carousel where we can have one image or a series of images in circulation. In the context of a retail outlet, that could be a promotional message. At a school, it'd be the message of the week from the principal. It could be a security message at a hospital, whatever, or series of messages. And we can also display live web viz in a tile. So that could be the local weather. It could be an internal web page, shows a security update or whatever you need. Now, and the important thing here is we can with any IP camera that supports ONDIF, which is pretty much all cameras on the market today. And with that, I'll hand it over to Phil to talk to a typical deployment.
Good afternoon again, everyone. Phil from IONODES Technical Support. The slide we're looking at right now is a typical deployment that takes full advantage of the IONODES and Eagle Eye Networks integration. In this example, multiple cameras are set up in a small health clinic. Cameras are situated at the main entrance, a few in the patient waiting area, and one is even set up at the registration desk. On the bottom right of the graphic, you can see that a video wall has been set up in the patient waiting area and live streaming cameras on a HD television or monitor directly from the local network. You'll also notice that there are two colors representing network traffic. The orange network is the original Eagle Eye Networks network streaming and recording your cameras to the cloud. And those are also made available on your devices connected to the internet. The blue colored network represents the traffic on the secure display station being live streamed locally. So again, among the advantages of adding an IONODES secure display station or SDS to your video wall or to your existing Eagle Eye Networks infrastructure is the fact that the local video is streamed in high definition and with no or very minimal latency. The reason you see both colors represented to and from the secure display station is that the IONODES SDS will import the Eagle Eye Networks configuration directly from the customer account over at Eagle Eye Networks. So if we move on to the next slide. So you're probably asking, so what does the integration do? It basically allows you to import your Eagle Eye Networks layouts and camera configurations directly from your Eagle Eye Networks account into the IONODES secure display station. Again, the advantages to that is there's no need to manually configure or program your secure display station. So this means it facilitates and accelerates your secure display station deployment on your monitor or video wall. The left-hand side of the graphic shows Eagle Eye Networks web interface, your actual Eagle Eye Networks account, web interface, how you're set up, your different layouts and cameras and whatnot, while the right hand depicts the video output of the IONODES SDS. So you can see that it's a very seamless integration as such. If we move on to the next slide. So at this point, you're thinking that this sounds too simple or too good to be true. Well, it is that simple, and yes, it's true. So once you've connected your IONODES secure display station to your monitor or video wall and have it connected to your network, you simply log into the secure display station configuration page, usually done either through the IP address of the device. You can also plug in a mouse or keyboard directly onto it and have access to the configuration. So once you're in the configuration page, on the integration tab, you'll simply enter your Eagle Eye Networks credentials, that is to say your username and password, and press the save button, which will appear at the bottom right of the web interface. And that's where all the magic happens. So once the credentials are saved, the IONODES secure display station will automatically synchronize with the Eagle Eye Networks account, and it will populate camera sources. It will configure the layouts as well as the views within the IONODES SDS, excuse me, all this is done literally within seconds. So all that's left for you to do is to choose which video output the SDS to display all this magic on, because one of our SDS is obviously is dual monitor, so you can play with the different video outputs. It's important to note at this point that if you make changes in your Eagle Eye Networks account, so if you add cameras, delete some, if you change some of your layouts around, you'll have to go back to the integration tab of the Secure Display Station webpage and press the resync button, which you see there on number 3 in the graphic. And pressing that resync will, once again, sync up everything between your Eagle Eye Networks account and the SDS and make both platforms identical once more. It is that easy and simple. That's it for me for the moment. Thank you. I'll throw this back to my colleague, Steve, for the next slide.
Thanks, Phil. Just a small housekeeping note before I continue. We're about halfway through the 3 minutes that we scheduled for the call, but we're probably almost 3/4 of the way through our presentation. I just want to remind, I know Megan mentioned it earlier, but I just want to remind people that at the bottom of your screen, if you mouse to the bottom, you'll see a Q&A icon, and click on that. You can submit questions. We did leave some time at the end of the presentation for questions, so please, if you do have any questions, submit them there, and we'll be happy to answer them in a few minutes. Back to the slides. What you see here are the 2 secure display stations that we offer at IONODES. The R100S supports 1 monitor, and the R200 supports 2 monitors. Up to 16 cameras can be, or video sources, or data sources can be displayed on each monitor. So anywhere from 1 to 16 cameras, typically. The units, the dimensions there, they're quite small, and they're typically, after initial configuration on the network, are you included VESA mount to install the unit on the back of the monitor. So in addition to convenience, tidy installation, it just means that, you know, we're really designed as set and forget devices with no interaction from the end user. So those are the 2 units. R100S, one supplies 1 monitor. The R200, 2 monitors. And then if we can advance to the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about the types of vertical markets or end users where we often see a good fit. You know, the restaurant, the cafe market, gym facilities, logistic and warehouse sites often work both with Eagle Eye and with IONODES. Healthcare, both hospitals and clinics, and smaller clinics. We see a lot of gas station and service center deployments, and retail. So those are fairly broad ranges. They're not the only types of facilities that use it. I know just this week we were supporting a deployment at an ethanol production facility, for example, where low latency was extremely important. But these are some of the more common scenarios. If we think about healthcare, you've got a lot of users. The fundamental thing that ties together these things is you want to display video to somebody other than the security department. You know, the people that you want to display the video to aren't trained security people often. They are, or if they're security people, they're physical security and they're not VMS operators doing investigations. So you want to display video somewhere, but you don't want to put a computer there. And it's super important that that video is always displayed, meaning if you have a public view monitor at the entrance to a store, the purpose of that monitor is to let would-be shoplifters know that your store is on its game, has good video surveillance, and is not a good target for them. If it shows an error or a blue screen of death or no video at all, that's the exact opposite of its intended purpose. It's now advertising that you're not on your game with your IP video and you are a good target. You know, if we look at the service station or the healthcare clinic, you have users, nurses or attendants that you're displaying video from around the facility for their safety. You always want that to be displayed, and you know, if it's not working now, it's not delivering enhanced safety that you intended. In the logistics, this scenario more often at warehouses is you want to make sure that the people inside on the secure side of the facility know exactly what's going on outside before they open that big loading bay door. Not just what's on the other side of the peephole, but what's going on in the whole parking lot. So that's a few different scenarios that we often see deployments. The things that tie these things together, again, I've mentioned high availability a lot, high or low latency. We're talking 200 to 300 milliseconds because, again, we're not having to go up and down from the cloud. We're just pulling live video directly from the camera is really important. And then, you know, the other thing to keep in mind is the users that we're displaying video to now are not security people. They're doctors, nurses, you know, people working in the gym. They're used to high definition video at home, and we've all become acclimated to that now. We don't have to compromise on the quality of the video because we're not having to manage bandwidth up and down from the cloud. So we can display higher quality video and higher frame rate video, again, because we're not having to compromise to get things up and down from the cloud and manage bandwidth. Our video staying on site, and therefore we can have higher quality. So with that, I think we'll go to our Q&A. I see we have a couple of questions already. I'll hand it back over to Megan to go through any Q&A.
Hi, yes, this is Megan again from the Eagle Eye marketing team. We're going to start the Q&A portion. Just a reminder, if you're watching on Zoom, there is a Q&A box so you can go ahead and submit questions through. Or if you happen to catch this on our Facebook live stream, please leave any questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you right after this is over. We have a few frequently asked questions, but I see that we also have a few submitted questions. So we're going to go ahead and answer those first. It looks like Simon asked, are there any limitations with specific Eagle Eye bridges, such as the Combo 410 bridge, or with cameras such as analog?
Thanks, Simon. Glad you were able to join us. It seems like forever since the last time we spoke. So the IONODES device will work with IP cameras, but if you need an IP camera or an analog camera to work with it, you could easily use an encoder. So they support encoders as well. So you wouldn't necessarily need the 410 or any of the combo bridges that we offer.
All right, next we have a couple questions from Pete. He asked, how many IONODE devices can be deployed at one location communicating with a single Eagle Eye device?
I'll take that one. Phil here from IONODE support. There's no actual limitations as to the number of SDSs you can throw on your network. So if you've got multiple video walls or multiple spot monitors within your network, we don't see it as an issue as such.
Yeah, that's Steve Green chiming in. It's a good question, Pete. Basically, yeah, there's no limitation from an Eagle Eye perspective because we're not really adding any overhead for the Eagle Eye appliance on site. You know, obviously, you have X number of streams that you can manage for camera. Each stream generates bandwidth on your local network. We do support tapping into multicast streams if you need to display video in other places as the same video in a lot of places that's on the same network.
All right, thank you. His next question was, is there any overhead on the Eagle Eye devices that we need to consider for sizing?
And this is Ricky, I'll take that one. Steve sort of answered that as well. So the IONODES device is going to sit separately from any Eagle Eye devices. And so there is no overhead on the Eagle Eye. It's an excellent solution. And so, you know, because of that, you know, once again, you can add as many IONODES devices to the network as you like.
All right, thank you. Next, we have another question from Simon. He wanted to know, additionally, what's the pricing structure like upfront and then ongoing?
Yeah, Steve Green here. Yeah, the pricing for our units MSRP for the R100S is $795 US. Again, I'm speaking US pricing, and so you can kind of base an estimate for New Zealand based on that, Simon. But and then for the R200, it's about $1,590, $1,590. And again, that's MSRP. So as an integrator, your cost would be significantly lower than that. And we will be sending out a promo code after this with special pricing for new integrators who attended this webinar with special exceptionally low pricing for your first unit that you would buy to play around with and familiarize yourself with.
All right, thank you. It looks like we have one more question for right now. Then it is from Joe. He asked, are there any PTZ or maybe touchscreen controls for 360 cameras locally?
Hi. Yeah, good question, Joe. The secure display station is really designed with the perspective of set and forget. So pan tilt zoom control, we don't do either of those things on the secure display station. Obviously, if an operator using Eagle Eye Cloud VMS controls the pan tilt zoom, that'll be reflected in what's displayed on the secure display station.
Great, thank you. So we are starting to get near the end of our presentation, so we are going to move on. If you have any additional questions, definitely make sure you reach out to us. We are going to have our contact information up on the slide in a second. So next steps. First, you should check your email shortly after the presentation. That's where you will find an email from IONODES with your exclusive promo codes. Because you attended this webinar, you're also automatically approved to be an IONODES solution partner, which will let you receive discounts on your first models. To order your display system, definitely contact IONODES directly and they will get you guys set up. We also recommend that you reach out to Eagle Eye Networks if you'd like to schedule a demo. Our cloud video surveillance solution is very robust and there are many features we weren't able to touch on today, and we'd love the opportunity to talk with you guys more about that. So here is the contact information for both companies. Again, if you have any additional questions, please reach out to us. We'd love to help you. And check your email, like we said, shortly after this, because you will be receiving a follow-up with a promo code, and you'll also receive an email from Eagle Eye with this presentation. We'll open it up one last time. Does anyone have any additional questions, or would any of the speakers like to say anything else?
This is Ricky. I'd just like to thank everybody from around the globe for joining us today. Looks like some folks woke up really early to hear what we had to say. So once again, much appreciated.
Yeah, likewise, Steve Green here. Thank everybody for their time. I know it's a lot of demands on everyone's time, so thanks for your time today.
Thank you, everyone.